You guys asked questions and I answered them in this video. Listen to the full track through the link in the description. The first question is, how did you make those kicks? I used 3 kicks, 1 in the climax and 2 in the outro. Let's take a look at the climax kick first. This kick is the same kick that I've always used but edited and tweaked through the years. It has a bass layer with the main character. And I also added an extra more modern raw character in the mids. And I also added a few layered punches to let it cut through the mix better. Now the outro kick. For the outro kick I first used a normal house kick, to which I added reverb. Then I added another kick with reverb, but I deleted the kick so you only hear the reverb. The next layer is the sub of the main climax kick, a dubstep kick for bass in the punch, and a more raw punch on top of everything. How do you fit the kick with the melody? Well, 90% of the times we place the kick on the root note of the chord. So if it is a G major chord, we place a kick on the G. If you don't know the root note of the chord you just made, you can go to this website and you can put in all the notes of the chord that you've made. And it will tell you what chord it is. So this is a G major chord, so the kick will go on a G. Another comment is, the synth is awesome. What makes the main lead? What VST did you use? Well, the lead consists of multiple layers. The character is made out of multiple Silent 1 layers, and I also added a synth from June. But I also added some white noise and 2 other layers to warm up the sound and widen up the sound as well. I also got a few comments about the melody, but the melody is actually not that difficult. The chord progression is really common. It goes like this: G minor, G minor, C minor, F major, A sharp major, D sharp major, D major. There are lots of songs that follow that same chord progression. In the second part I add a new sound and I give a twist to the melody which changes the whole rhythm and vibe of the melody. I also transpose the melody a few times, which means I change the key of the melody, which means I bring the melody up or down. And let me know if you want a tutorial on how to transpose a melody from one key to the other. Now, I also had some struggles while mixing the track. Struggle 1. The melody is an arpeggio, which means there's no space for the reverb to breathe. My solution is that I duplicated the main layer and deleted the in-between notes. This highlights the most important notes of the melody. I routed this layer to the reverb as well, and this is also the answer why it sounds a little bit jumpy. The art melody itself has a lot of sidechain to make space for the punch of the kick. Struggle 2. My second struggle is that I find it really hard to add space to the track and keeping a clear, straightforward lead. So instead of giving up the spacious vibe, I decided to keep the kick clean and let the leads float around it. The leads themselves are quite clean, but I really wanted to add a drive to the track. Another question is, what's on my master chain? There's nothing really on the master chain, nothing really changing the sound of the track, but I use some key maps, which means when I press 1 the mix goes to mono, and when I press 2 a low pass filter is applied. I also added a spectrum visualizer and one automation which affects the width of the track. I tighten the width a little bit before widening up again in the climax. I keep it very subtle though. Another question is, how did you mix your leads one by one? Well, I already made a tutorial of that, so let me know if I should make an updated one. One thing though, if you look at the visualizer, you'll see that in the climax where the kick comes, the leads are high passed, which means no bass signal is coming through. This gives more room to the kick to cut through the mix. I've got a few rules for mixing my tracks, which are: start with the kick and bring up the leads accordingly. Get the lead and kick sounding good in mono, then work on the stereo image to widen the sound. I see the mix as one space that can be filled up. The kick is the main element of the track, and all the other elements like reverb, the leads, the chords, they float around the kick, adding space and depth to the track. Reverb. I just use the same reverb as I always do, Arch Acoustic, and normally I sidechain the reverb with the lead, but now I added a sidechain with kickstart which follows the beat. This happens only in the climax of the track, and this way the punch of the kick can cut through more easily and it adds a bit of movement and energy. I also always get rid of the low end with an EQ. The delay is pretty standard, there's not much to it, but I added an extra signal to trigger the delay. Remember, this is the same melody as the arpeggio, but also without in-between notes. The difference is that I muted the notes themselves, so there's only the wet delay signal. I think I answered every question. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of the track through the comments below.